It's been so cold this winter for so long that even the dogs I normally see on my way to synagogue think twice about going out. The Central Park has been practically empty now for weeks. That's one way to get rid of the tourists, by the way. One forlorn boxer, icicles hanging from its mouth, looked at me with pleading eyes as if to say, "My owner is insane. He's got this Canada Goose jacket on with a warm scarf, and he throws on my back some flimsy jacket he made from his spare socks." It's been so cold for so long that 20 degrees seems balmy. It's been so cold that everyone I see on the Upper East Side seems to me to be Botoxed. It's been so cold this winter that some paths in the park have been frozen for weeks. Since the storm 2 weeks ago and until Wednesday, that walkway from Sheep Meadow to Central Park West was so frozen under what looked like easy-to-navigate snow that people regularly slipped and fell on the ice. I don't know how many New Yorkers broke bones on that path alone. It was so slippery that I saw a good Samaritan last week positioned at the beginning of the pathway who, when he saw an unsuspecting elderly person begin to navigate the trail, called out in a booming voice, "Be careful, ice, ice." That scared me. I immediately began to look for my documentation. Where's my passport? I didn't bring my passport. All I had was a driver's license. And I thought to myself, that might be a good metaphor for America today. The stability under our feet that we've always taken for granted seems much less certain now. We're much more fragile, less balanced. We walk the American landscape not quite as confidently as before. It is the era of American vertigo, with so much dissension, anger, and conflict, and with so many leaders who disappoint us regularly, whose purpose seems not to unify, but to exacerbate tension and increase hatred, not only in politics, but also religion, education, media, social media, academia, culture. We must ask ourselves, how will we implant greater stability, greater harmony, civility, and decency? In this week's Torah portion, Jethro, Moses, having led the people out of Egypt, reunites with his father-in-law, Jethro. After observing how Moses spent his days resolving disputes between the Israelites, Jethro, himself a leader, the priest of Midian, offers this compelling advice to his son-in-law. Lo tov hadavar asher ata oseh. Moses, what you're doing is ridiculous. You can't judge the people all by yourself. You'll wear yourself out. Ve'ata techazeh mikol ha'am anshe chayil yir'ei Elohim anshe emet son'ei vatza. Seek out from among all the people the talented and capable ones, those who fear God, who are devoted to truth, who spurn ill-gotten gain, and let them judge the people alongside you. I love this verse. The Torah offers a description of those who would share the burdens of leadership with Moses. Anshe chayil, people of high capability and skill, talented people. Yir'ei Elohim, God-fearing people, or what we might describe today as those who have a high sense of ethics and communal responsibility. They realize that there is a moral and legal system above them to which they are accountable. They cannot do anything they want, and they cannot act any way they want. Anshei emet, a beautiful phrase that means something like people of truth, honorable, trustworthy, and reliable people, those who love truth. And sonei vatza, those who hate unjust gain. Judaism is not against wealth, only ill-gotten wealth. First, leadership must be delegated. No one person can do it alone. Jethro emphasizes this great leadership model. You can't do it alone. Jethro rejects a kind of leadership that believes only I can fix it. Only I determine what the law is. Second, the leaders of the people must be capable. They must have talents and skills that distinguish them. Competence, excellence, unique aptitude. These are important for leadership. Not everyone can do the job. I can do this job. I can't be the coach of the New York Knicks. I don't know how to do that job. And don't ask me to fix things either. I can't. I hire people to fix all the stuff that's broken in my apartment. Or frankly, I ask my wife to do it, and she's much better at that. Third, Jethro reminds Moses that it's not only talent and skills. The character of these leaders is equally important. You must appoint people who have a high sense of morality, fairness, and honor, who do not claim for themselves what they would deny to others, who feel an urgent responsibility to the people's welfare, who do not pursue gain unjustly, and who are anshei emet, lovers of truth, people who honor truth, who do not lie. According to the Torah, leadership requires both special talents and unique moral character. Skills without a keen sensitivity to morality can lead to catastrophe. The most dangerous leaders are the talented ones who have little honor or concern for right and wrong. On the other hand, character without skill leads to incompetence and eventually chaos. Don't ask clergy to run Fannie Mae. Jethro's prescription is more relevant today than ever. We yearn for these kinds of leaders, not only those with unique competence and skills, but those who have the highest character, anshei emet, people who speak the truth and are thus trustworthy and reliable. They're not contradictory. You can have skilled people who are also people of character. Jewish sages looked at this verse in our parashah, talented, God-fearing, truthful people, and they asked, why didn't Jethro also mention peace-loving leaders? Isn't peace the highest aspiration for society? And shouldn't domestic tranquility be the central imperative for leaders? Why didn't Jethro specify that a key qualification for leadership is ahavat shalom, to love peace? The Kotzker Rebbe explained, peace in and of itself is not a foundational virtue, but rather an outcome, the result of talent, high sense of morals, truth, and honor. The virtue of peace does not stand on its own. It depends on other virtues. The reason that Jethro didn't advise Moses to appoint lovers of peace is that domestic tranquility would be the result of appointing anshei emet to key positions, good, decent, honorable, and truth-loving people. But peace lovers who do not have the requisite skills or character will not, on their own, advance the cause of peace. Peace and domestic tranquility do not require everyone agreeing with each other all the time. To the contrary, Jews argue over everything. The Jewish imperative and Jewish tradition is one long, remarkable 2,000-year record of disagreement after disagreement, controversy after controversy, dispute after dispute. Our sacred texts explode with conflicting opinions of the same biblical verse. You can hardly even open one page of Talmud without encountering numerous debates about seemingly minor matters. Often these disputes are unresolved. The rabbis were content to leave room for the next generation to go ahead and see if they can resolve the issue. Our tradition felt that since there are no absolutes in human affairs, the best way to achieve understanding and harmony was through debate. Let the best argument win. And therefore, from a Jewish perspective, the threat to domestic tranquility is not in disagreement per se, no matter how passionate. Rather, the threat is lying, greed, immorality, the unrestrained thirst for power, and little appreciation of or deference to right and wrong, leading to the breakdown of social cohesion and the rupture of communal solidarity and trust. And when this happens, we will be unable even to agree on what is right and wrong. Jethro's last words of advice to Moses are these: "Im et hadavar hazeh ta'aseh," if you do these things, "kol ha'am hazeh al mekomo yavo v'shalom." If you do these things, if you find these kinds of leaders, the people shall return to their homes in peace. The Torah doesn't say they will return to their home victorious or fully satisfied or vindicated or justified or validated, but they will return to their homes v'shalom, in peace, because peace does not require winning every argument. Peace means compromising sometimes and even losing sometimes. But domestic tranquility does require that the people feel that they were judged and led by Anshe Emet, truthful, trustworthy, and moral leaders who seek the welfare of the community at large. And therefore, they'll be able to go home in peace, even if they disagree with the decisions, as long as they were judged by Anshe Emet. And then, if we have Anshe Emet leading us, even when dissatisfied with the result of a specific dispute, still, al mekomo yavo v'shalom, we can return to our homes in peace, gird our loins, and prepare to try again.